reaching the end of the year last year, I ran into this big emotional block where I didn't enjoy music anymore. Um, the industry I'm in can be extremely toxic, right? And as tough as you might expect me to be, and as I am, yeah, of course, there's moments where you just feel like things get a bit too much. Things tend to turn a little sour for you eventually because it's so overly played. The way people behave, the way people act. It's more often than not, a lot of deja vu's, but it's like, come on, like, it's like chill. We've seen it, we've done it, we've been there. Can we move on to something else? Can we move on from these gimmicky attitudes? And I think all of these things kind of got me to feel really overwhelmed. So much so that I carried that energy with me even through the week last week, and got to a point where I hit an actual emotional wall, and I was like, okay, what is up? I literally talk to myself. That's what I do. I do a lot of, introspections, and I sort of like become a spectator and at the same time an actor of my own reality, and sort of like try to understand, why am I feeling a certain way? Why do I feel frustrated? If there's any frustration, any blocked energy, what can I do to unlock? And I've realized that one of the things that, I stopped doing, right, as a result of me having to just stay 100% after my mother's passing last year, I forgot a lot of essentials. Such as, I take, for example, one of the things that I've been doing, and I'm actually extremely proud that I've been doing this for quite a long time now, but I would spend literally 3 hours every day educating myself, listening to, podcasts and learning about anthropology, Pan-Africanism, et cetera, history, things that really make me feel passionate, geopolitics, et cetera. And so, on one hand, you educate yourself, you also maintain a certain level of connection with spirituality and trying to maintain yourself as harmonious as possible. But then eventually you realize that, oh snap, all I've been doing is yes, coming to realization with a lot of things, but at the same time being carried away with with the futilities of the material world we live in. So taking time for myself, I understood the necessity to really, really be conscious of the necessity to take moments, if you can, take moments for yourself, take moments for your mental health. It's a real thing. It's it's not necessarily a luxury. You don't necessarily need to go on a vacation, even though it's always nice if you can. But if you can't, it really just takes a moment to isolate yourself within yourself. And it must not be easy, for sure, if you live in an environment, if you have kids, family members, etc. Finding space for yourself alone may be complicated. But I think that ultimately, if you're able to communicate the need for you to really be isolated for a certain amount of time, I'm certain you can achieve that. And with that being said, even and the distractions are many. Even when you, like myself, I have my house, but I'm by myself. Sometimes you just your mind, keeps making noises and you keep being distracted. That's why you really literally have to tame yourself like an animal, and literally talk to your subconscious mind and talk to yourself and really make sure that you accept this moment, like chill, calm the fuck down. It really is important, because otherwise, look, you can find yourself feeling very, very, very shitty about a lot of different things. And for me, I started to feel very negative about a few things, and including this industry, including this business. And I was just like, but I have that all the time. As a matter of fact, if like me, you've been in this business long enough, even though you know how it goes, you feel like every other month, every other 7 months or 12 months or 6 months, you're just like, what the fuck am I doing this for? But that's the reality of the business. And we keep going, and 23 years later, here we are still. So it's sad sometimes that the business and the politics, actually the business is one thing, but what is very annoying is the politics, and that really is something that tends to take away from the pleasure and the joy of making music and actually really, really sharing the gift that we have. Because, you always have something that calls you back to, the material world. And eventually you don't want to find yourself in a situation where shit gets so bad, it affects your actual physical self. So from something that bothered you in your mind, it becomes subconscious, start nourishing some negative things and energies within you, create diseases, discomfort, etc., etc. There's so many things that can result in you not taking the moment for yourself. I've spoke about this on a couple of shows here on MQT before, but the thing is that this is a ever-going conversation, because as you evolve in time and in experiences in life, you tend to look at things from a different perspective. So, it is not a boring subject. If anything, it's amazing to realize that as much as you know, or you know that you know, but at the same time you forget, because when you acquire that knowledge, you don't question it anymore, and then it becomes so common that you forget to fall back to base. What do I mean by that? When you there's a proverb. I don't know if you say it like that in English, but if you don't know where you're going, look back at where you came from originally, which means it literally is about understanding that journey. Like, how far have you come? Because sometimes indeed it is hard to find yourself in the present, looking towards the future, because there's just so many things that come into your daily life, challenging you emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, etc., 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 that you get caught into the matrix, and that system becomes a part of you, and then you stop truly living your life with purpose. And look, this conversation is really profound, and I find it important to share these words of sharing my personal experience and sharing these words with you, because first of all, somebody may need to hear this and be encouraged in maintaining focus, because as much as things can get tough, you need to get tougher. And in order for you to do that, you have to take moments where you just don't do nothing. Like literally last week, I did, and I told everybody, I'm doing the bare and absolutely strict minimum. I will not be getting back to work until I feel like I'm ready. And I decided that January was going to be a month where I need to take moments for myself, which was not the case before, because it was a different vibe, then. And now this year, especially after everything, as I said, that I've experienced in 2022, not only the negative, but sometimes you get caught up in so many things that you forget little pleasures, little moments of joy that you have had, because you know what? You overlook because it becomes insignificant just because you get caught into this train of thoughts and these habits. And because we're animals of habits, you got to check yourself back into the right habits. And I noticed for me, it's going to be, for example, I'll see if I start gaining weight, I know that there is, because I'm not somebody that I'm not you're not going to see my anxiety visibly. It's very inside. And I have a strong self-control. But then eventually when it gets too much, the only person that was really able to see, and obviously, she was my mother. So, but she could tell right away something's off. Um, and she would have the right words, and she would know exactly what to advise me to do. She would make me like a nice little, tea, and yeah, she had all these little, magic stuff that she would do. What a mother, true, because you can have a child, but that doesn't mean you can be a mother to that child, unfortunately. And that is something that, and some people, as my same applies for a father, right? You can be, a janitor, a father to a child, but it takes a father to really, it takes true courage and love and determination and devotion to truly be a father and a mother. So I was blessed to have both. And so when you hit sometimes, if like me, you've lost both your parents, you don't really know where to go. Think back in time where you hit a specific moment in your life back then. What were the advice that were given to you? The advices, sorry. And so same thing applies if you still have your parents. Thankfully, you can go and ask, and if you can't speak to them, then there's always going to be somebody that's experienced enough, that's old enough, and has gathered enough knowledge about life that may be able to enlighten you about whatever is holding you from accomplishing your full potential. And one of the things that I've learned is, if you do not rest, first and foremost, nothing is going to be clear. Because when your mind is tired, your spirit is tired, your whole body is tired, and you keep going, eventually what you're doing is you accelerating. Now your resistance may come into play and may delay the aftermath and impact of your misbehaviors. What do I mean by that is, the fact that you're not taking time is going to be, eventually getting paid. You're going to have to pay that at the end, and sometimes, as I said earlier, it can be very pricey. Rosaem, bonsoir, comment ça va? Welcome indeed. Welcome everyone to all the Boddhists. Make sure, if you haven't done it just yet, press the like button, subscribe to the channel. Of course, you can show love via the donations. That's always appreciated. Super chat, super stickers, you name it. Feel free to support. As I said, it's always appreciated, and there's no such thing as a small amount. Just do what you can, right? And so, eventually, going to pay it if you don't take that time. And so I started to feel like, look, I'm messing around now. I am not taking enough time. I would, like last year, I would sleep 5 hours, 6 hours max. My body would, my mind or my body, I don't know which one was controlling who. And I would just sleep 5 to 6 hours max. It's not sustainable, it can be. And of course, if you're a high achiever and you want to get things done, you find ways to set your mind in such a way that you're capable of recuperating in a short amount of time. But it's not sustainable, in my opinion, if you do it for too long, and that's why you need to take breaks where you actually allow yourself to, reset. So, I was forced to reset emotionally. I was drained. I was really, really, really low. And you'll notice, I usually talk about these things afterward, after the whole thing happened, simply because it's always nice to talk about something that is, gone. Then, at least for me, I prefer, because it's also a question of preserving my own private life and making space for me to go through whatever I need to go through at a time, and then share the collection of information that I've gathered from going through that specific experience. And at the same time, I also understand that there's not many people like me, not in the sense that I'm unique and but my level of resilience has been exposed drastically to a lot of challenging times. Ooh la la, Fake Free Entertainment LLC. That's right. Thank you so much for the beautiful donation. I appreciate that a lot. God bless indeed. MQT is a blessing. Oh, let's do this. Aïe, aïe, aïe. Aïe, aïe, aïe. Comprenez cette émotion. Vraiment. Je me sens ému. Aïe, aïe, aïe. Oh, thank you, family. please jump into the comments. Feel free to, chip in. Definitely share your own experience. We're here to talk about it. And yeah, just interact, because I'm pretty sure I'm not unique in that sense, because we all go through rough times. What I meant to say, because I don't want my words to be taken out of context, I've realized that, and it's not a cocky statement, but it's just an observation and a factual thing. I've seen people going through equivalent levels of pain and not be able to handle them at all. And everybody have different degrees and capacities, so it's not throwing stones at anybody, but it's just observing facts and understanding that, well, even when you think you don't have the strength, truthfully, if you look deep enough and allow yourself to surprise you, you will find that you're stronger than you may think, and than most people may think of you. Because I've realized that one observation is that a lot of the time we are a product of our environment. So if people said, you're not this enough, you're not capable, or don't do this, you have a tendency to abide too much to whatever people say about you and be influenced too much about that. You end up not living your life. You end up not really being your full potential. And therefore, if a situation of challenge comes into place and throws you off your actual trajectory, you lose it. You lose focus, you lose self-confidence. And again, all these emotions are okay, because of course, when you work hard and you devoted to what you do, anything that's going to come puts itself between you and these goals and these achievements that you're trying to get at or make happen is unjust, unfair, etc., etc., etc. And so you have to overcome and surpass the victimhood. You have to be able to take ownership of the situation and understand that, okay, this is part of the journey. Challenges are there to strengthen you. Yes, a lot of them can be very unfair, but again, it's life. And I hear so many people saying so many things about, it can be easy. I mean, yes, you can make life easier, but I don't really ever think that life is easy in a way that it's all, jolly and, happy. And life is what it is. And it's also what you make it. So of course, if you have a tendency to be negative because shit is hard and, life happens, well, then that's what you're going to be having around you. Your world is going to be filled with that kind of energy. But if you have a tendency to be like, look, life is such a way. I'm challenged right now. I'm not able to do this. I'm not able to do that. I'm not exactly where I want to be. I think that I should be there, but I'm not. Whatever the reason, whatever is triggering you to feel a certain way, switch that. Switch that and realize that you are not a victim of the situation. But in order for you to do that, a lot of the time we underestimate the power of rest. Because again, and I'd say that too because I've done it. I've literally taken days of where I felt like sleeping, I would just sleep. And you might say, well, you can afford that because you're an entrepreneur, you run your own business. Yes, no, not really actually, because if I don't work, I don't make money. Simply put, let's actually be, because everybody's trying to play a role. Everybody is in their posture and in their, sort of presentation of themselves that has to be matching a certain kind of energy and vibe. And I understand, we all play some sort of roles, but at the end of the day, whatever role you're playing, it better be you. It better not be a fake version of you, because otherwise what happens is that you keep living a lie that you have to justify and that you have to keep very, very in guard, very, 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 very strongly, so that nobody can unveil, discover. But eventually, people find out. And this shit can clap back at you in a way that's messed up. And so, fast forward to this week, actually, towards the end of the week last week, I came to that conclusion where I said, okay, what am I, what's going on? What's happening? Let me take a moment to really understand, why am I feeling this way? And, once I did that, I realized, okay, some of my feelings are valid. My emotions are valid because they are, the fruit or the result of a frustration on this and this and that level. All right, cool. Thing is, the frustration that you feel on this and this and that level, if you put it in a balance with everything else that's happening in your life, even though nothing will ever be 100% perfect. It does not exist. I mean, you can believe and it's amazing. It's great to say that everything is amazing because yes, ultimately, it is. But the fact of the matter is that you have to be realistic, and being also overly positive can be a bit too much. So, maintaining harmony, and so after I did that little self-therapy, if I may, I started doing my breath work, because that's another thing. When you do the rest thing, when you actually take a moment to rest, you also have to add and understand that breathing is very important. Breathing is so important because through breathing, you can actually regulate, so many emotions, so many things within your body, within your mind. You can heal, you can reactivate, cells, your blood cells, etc., connections. Breathing and oxygenation of your system, mind, body, is absolutely and utterly essential. I've learned that with time, and a very good friend of mine whom I've had on the show several times, Carla Luna Veda, sent me a couple of beautiful exercises to do, breath works. If anything, you should check her out on Instagram, Carla Luna Veda, Carla with a K. And look, it's amazing. It adds to, the exercises, because again, you've got to exercise yourself. It's not just going to the gym that is important. It's also, flexing that respiratory muscle and, oxygenating your mind, etc. These things may be very futile for some people, but I can guarantee you they are very real. They are very, very effective. And so, I came to the conclusion that, I was all right. Things will not always be 100% perfect. It's impossible. But one thing for sure is that if you're convinced that whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is that's making you feel unsatisfied, etc., is just a construction of your mind. And really, if you think and you look at the bigger picture, all of these little bumps along the way are blessings in disguise. It is a matter of just, taking a perspective, looking at things with a certain distancing yourself actually from these realities that may cause some discomfort in your life, and sort of like look at them not for the problems that they are, but try to see what is behind that, right? So yeah, that's what I did, and this weekend I added more rest, slept more, and this Monday, boom, back at it, and it's amazing because. Trust me, if you had seen me last week, I was like a freaking, I wouldn't say zombie, but I was, oh God. I was not my normal self because, again, you push the machinery so much, so far that at a certain point, you're just like, yo, it's too much. Emriagnon, good evening. How are you? Welcome to MQT 61. I hope that y'all are good. Is everybody feeling comfortable? Look, I got myself a little drink. I hope you don't mind. You know,